Alright, so making cannabis coconut oil. This will show me taking 1 ounce of cannabis. What strain doesn't matter, whether it's sativa, indica, most strains are a combination of the two to some percentage or another. But you take the bud or the flower of the cannabis plant. That's what you want. The more trichomes, the better. The better the plant, the better. To give it the THC component, to turn it from a CBD type of thing into THC, the molecules in the plant have to change, and that comes with heat. Without the heat, were you to make this without this heating step, you can make your own CBD oil that does not have the psychoactive component or the feeling of being high, so to speak. The graph on the screen is something I found that I used as a really good baseline that shows it shows the transition of the plant itself when heat is applied, when it's baking. It shows the THC formation, like those molecules forming due to the heat applied for a certain amount of time. The thing with this is, too low of heat, you won't convert it into THC and get the psychoactive component. Too much heat, you burn the cannabis. Kind of a general rule I follow is kind of 240 degrees for 40 minutes and or 250 degrees for about 30 minutes. And then I kind of play with that here and there, and I kind of adjust. Without the box, without the decarb box of the magic butter, and this isn't a promotional video for any type of product or company, but I do like the magic butter machine. It makes the oil, its production, a lot more efficient. Without that box, you can use a baking pan, baking sheet, aluminum foil, but you want to make sure you cover it. You want it enclosed while it's cooking. The number one reason is to lock in all those changing molecules within, because when you pull it out, you're going to want to put it right into a freezer, or if it happens to be wintertime, set it outside in the snow. But you want to go right from the heating cooking stage right to a fast cooling stage to lock in all those molecules that are floating around there. After you do the cooking step, or do not do the cooking step, you want to add the cannabis to your coconut oil, whichever brand or version you'd like to use of it. With that, you want to add lectin. I use sunflower lectin in mine. The lectin itself increases the bioavailability of the medicine. It makes the medicine much more absorbable by the body. By increasing the bioavailability, it increases the potency and the effectiveness of the oil by an order of magnitude. During the steeping process, you can do no heat. I would suggest at least low heat to help the infusion process of the cannabis into the coconut oil. If you don't want any chance of activation, just look at that chart again, reference that chart. Just keep way low temperatures, and it should be all right. Another way to steep it without the magic butter machine, which does the grinding for you, it'll keep a steady constant temperature for you as well. It grinds all throughout the process. Without that, you can do it in a crock pot. In a mason jar is how I started. So you put the oil in the mason jar, put the material, the cannabis, cooked or not, into the oil in the mason jar, add the lectin, and then you use something to grind it during its steeping process in the crock pot. The crock pot can sit on high, keep it full of water, add water to it during the steeping process, and then constant grinding throughout. That's how I started before I got the machine to do it for me. When this whole process is complete, the material you have left over, That material is not trash. It's still full of medicine. It is medicine. You save the material and make sure you save a little bit of the oil, in that material, because you don't want to let it dry out necessarily. It should stay pretty damp and moist, but that material you can add to baked goods. You can use this externally, topically, as in you can make balms, salves. You can use the oil itself, rub it right into skin, say cuts, scrapes, bruises, pulled muscles. Just massage it right into the skin. It will absorb in the skin. I pour a little bit throughout the day in my coffee. You can add the oil, of course, a little drizzle on salad. Add it to pasta dish, however you want to consume it. A few drips around the tongue. When I see how it's marketed and sold, I want to put this out so others can make it themselves, because consider, with what I showed, for the price of about, I want to say $25 to $30, let's call it, for the coconut oil and the lectin, which that one bottle of lectin will last for many batches. It'll last. So say $25 to $30 is going to make, for me, this batch 35 ounces. Compare that to the size bottles being sold and being marketed, and consider that. I healed from a lot, and to me this is one of the most important things I could ever share, because this could indeed change the world, because it can help anyone heal and change within themselves if they can realize that, there are indeed problems. That you might have came up the wrong way, learning the wrong things, taught to believe things that weren't true. When you see things weren't quite true the way they were taught, and you go to look for yourself, to know the truth for yourself, and then you apply what you've come to know, or what you've come to think you know, and you see very real results that's absolutely contradictory to what you were taught. Something especially like this, to me, something life-saving, life-changing for so many out there that are in a lot of pain and are being run through the ringer by the system that's set up right now, the healthcare system, that is not about health and it's not about care. These are kind of things that I think that need to get out fastest, and realize there never should have been anything written down to tell us we couldn't do this, ever. So thanks for listening. Change your lifestyle along with it. Consume good, clean, healthy, natural, vegetable type sustenance, and to me that seems like some of the keys. Along with natural law, non-aggression principle, volunteerism, and the self-defense principle, which goes right along with non-aggression. So again, all right, thanks for listening.